Good morning. Let's answer a question from social media and then meditate. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi. This is the Lama you were looking for. This morning, we could chant and meditate and enjoy a lesson or two. But first, if you love Star Wars and you wish to meditate as profoundly as Ahsoka Tano on Lothal, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. If at any point during this morning's live stream you have a question about Buddhist meditation, philosophy, or even chanting, there is no need to be bashful. Simply type your question in great detail in the chat window on the right-hand side of the screen. Aha, look at that. That is what we call in Her Majesty's Navy the wrong page. That is weird. What's going on here, guys? 2 hours ago, 7 hours ago. Oh, here we go. Oh, right. Let's talk about improving intuition. One moment. All right, so let's talk about improving intuition. And I gotta go back and create some background. So I'm gonna tap button 2. If you read it, the 81 poems of the Tao Te Ching is a pretty small collection. You can get through it in a week, reciting just 6 poems every 12 hours. But if you go through it a couple of times, you'll see some patterns. And one of those patterns is yang and yin. Now, the Tao Te Ching is not a metaphysical manual. It is, or a medical manual. It is a philosophical manual. So it has a unique take on yang and yin. The basic attitude of the author is, although it's good to be aware of yang in your life, always choose yin. So that surprised me because I'd been exposed to a bunch of American teachers who insisted that the goal of Taoism was balance between yang and yin. But here in the heart of Taoist philosophy, the Tao Te Ching, we're told no, always choose yin. And here's a quick rundown. On the path of yang, we're prone to being rigid, fearful, controlling, elitist, competitive, and cruel. I want to focus in on being rigid and controlling. Now, contrast with the path of yin, where instead we're encouraged to be flexible, loving, laid back, egalitarian, cooperative, and kind, and with an emphasis on being flexible and being laid back. So I've said all that to give you some really disappointing conclusion. There is a yang way to generate psychic abilities and a yin way to generate psychic abilities. A yang way is about, okay, let's develop these abilities ASAP. Damn the torpedoes. Full speed ahead. And yin says, no, let's be laid back. Let's be flexible. Let's see what my body and mind needs are and what it's prone to do. And let the body and the brain determine which psychic abilities to explore first. So one is about forcing and the other is about allowing. One's about having structure, and the other's about being organic. Now, if you've ever planted a potato in the earth, you start off with something very organized. Here's a potato. And then it becomes remarkably disorganized with all these disgusting sprouts coming out of it. And then eventually becomes a whole bunch of potatoes, which are very organized. And so we see something kind of neat. We go from order to entropy, back to order, like a pendulum, back and forth. Nature is very messy. It's seldom symmetric. So for those who prefer control and rigidity, it's disappointing. Some people scurry about trying to improve upon nature. No, listen. I enjoy having medicine like the next person. I enjoy not being hunted by packs of wild wolves. I enjoy not having my skull chewed on by a hungry bear. So don't get me wrong, I love civilization. But not everything in civilization is optimized for our survival, including our tendencies to be rigid and controlling. Why am I going down this tangent? What happened to the original question? The best way to improve intuition is not to force it to improve, but to let it improve. Language is an ever-changing, malleable thing. People who have confused meditation with concentration, and there are plenty of them, and many of them wear teachers' robes. Those who confuse concentration with meditation and teach meditation as if it was concentration are undermining people's organic and sustainable acquisition of intuition. The greatest intuition comes from flexibility and being laid back, not from being rigid and controlling, but that's what concentration is. If you concentrate on one thing only, that's concentration. If you try to concentrate on nothing and just have a great big blank, that's concentration. If, however, You allow your body and brain to notice whatever comes up during each inhalation, whether it is sight, sound, sensation, flavor, scent, or the like, whether it is emotion, intention, thought, memory, or imagination, whether it is external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, convenient or inconvenient, rational or irrational, glorious or grotesque, whatever it is, allow it to come up, whether it comes into crystal clarity or remains amorphous, whether it comes to the foreground or remains in the background, like the antics of a clown during a three-ring circus. Allow that. The magic of meditation is found in living in harmony with our autonomic nervous system. When we allow our sympathetic nervous system to notice things willy-nilly during our inhalation, that's ideal. When we allow our parasympathetic nervous system to help us, to guide us through physical relaxation and mental release, that is in harmony with our I just lost a word. Sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are part of the something. Autonomic, thank you. The autonomic nervous system. When we let the autonomic nervous system do its deal during effective and regular meditation, the sharpening and improvement and enhancement of our intuition becomes an inevitability. Now, some people have more, and I was one of them, have more enthusiasm than insight. And they'll just push until they achieve not insight, but an analog of insight. Like when you go to the store and you find beautiful looking tomatoes and you get them home, you wash them up, you slice them open, and they're almost tasteless. That's an analog of a tomato. Well, they produce an analog of intuition. So let's tie this up with a big red metaphoric bow. The most in the long term, with a view towards sustainability, the most efficient way of allowing intuition to bloom like a flower is to practice regularly and enthusiastically practice and sustainably practice meditation. Coincidentally, we're going to practice meditation in just a few minutes, so stay right there. But first, let's pause for about a minute of housekeeping. If you find value in my explanations and techniques and group practice, allow me to remind you that with your assistance, this channel could help support the next generation of nuns, monks, yogis, lamas, and even brick-and-mortar meditation centers, replete with resident teacher and their apprentice. Now, if this speaks to you, if this feels like a good idea and you want to help out, you're welcome to, even for as little as the cost of 1 cup of coffee a month. Just use your smartphone's camera to capture this QR code, or if you're old school, simply click one of the donation links in the description area below the video. I'll tell you, my throat is unhappy this morning, so I will have to get up at some point and get some hot water. Such is life. I'll survive if you'll survive. Let's make an arrangement. We'll both survive. I think it could be fun to practice invocation of the Buddha's example instructions in students. Now, there's two ways we can do this. During our inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite, how relax into the awareness of this. That's fine. But if you've got something going on, something circumstantially or physically or interpersonally or intermentally, that's great, isn't it? You can put that right here. Now, please don't write on the screen. That would be lame. But I find this to be really, really helpful. Yesterday afternoon, I pushed myself too hard. I was very enthusiastic about something, and that me pushing myself too hard had an inconvenient effect on some of my disabilities, and I managed them. I got my central nervous system to calm down so I could go take a nap by playing with this. This has served me well for a ridiculously long period of time, and I'm elated to share it with you. Namo Muni and Namo Naramaya and Namo Sanghaya. Namo Muni and Namo Naramaya and Namo Sanghaya. The reason I decided to start sharing this with you is there are many sources, and I'm not a historian, but there are many sources that insist that when Zen Master Dogen was returning to Japan from China, there was a great storm when he was out at sea, and he performed a Buddhist invocation. There's some say he did it to improve his good fortune. Others did it to cope with his turbulent emotions. It may be true, and may be apocrypha, it may be wildly exaggerated. But I decided to add this version of his practice. Namo Mune Namo Naramaya Namo Sanghaya. 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 So basically, the literal version of this, as I pay homage to the Buddha and his teachings and his students, the progressive interpretation would be, I rely upon the Buddha's example, instructions, and students so that I can benefit all beings everywhere. Namo Mune Namo Naramaya Namo Sanghaya. 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 Okay, let's move forward. Together, let's chant the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. I find it helpful to put my hands together in front of my chest that creates a sensation as if my energy was coalescing within my central channel. Perhaps you'll find it beneficial as well. While practicing the deep practice of Prajnaparamita, looked upon the five skandhas, and seeing they were empty of self-existence, said, here Shariputra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. Whatever is form is emptiness, whatever is emptiness is form. The same holds for sensation and perception, memory and consciousness. Hishariputra, dharma sorry, found by emptiness, not by birth or destruction, purity or defilement, completeness or deficiency. Therefore, Shariputra, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, no perception, no memory, no consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, and no mind. No shape, no sound, no smell, no taste, no feeling, and no thought. No element of perceptions from eye to conceptual consciousness. No causal link from consciousness to old age and death. No window causal link from consciousness to old age and death. No suffering, no source, no relief, no path. No knowledge, no attainment, and no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, without attainment, Bodhisattvas take refuge in Prajnaparamita and live without the wall of the mind. Without walls of the mind, and thus without fears. Excuse me. They see through delusions and finally accomplish nirvana. You put 6 walls together, join them at right angles, and you wind up with a cube or a prison cell. We often make metaphoric prison cells of our limiting beliefs or fears that is fed by our logical fallacies and our rigidities. If we have the courage to be vulnerable to the perception of these limiting beliefs as we breathe in and relax and release them as we breathe out, we will accomplish nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, also take refuge in Prajnaparamita and realize unexcelled perfect enlightenment. You should therefore know the great mantra of Prajnaparamita. The mantra of great magic, the unexcelled mantra. The mantra equal to the unequaled, which heals all suffering and is true, not false. The mantra in Prajnaparamita is spoken thus. Gate gate para sangate buddhi swaha. Now we come to our primary practice. There are many ways to practice. I found the following the simplest: to just perform the physically oriented metaphoric practice of just sitting. So I said metaphoric because just sitting is hyperbolic. There's a specific way to sit. We have to sit sustainably, with our ankles resting upon something soft like a folded yoga blanket, or truches resting upon a circular meditation cushion called a zafu, both of which you can find on Amazon for a nominal fee, not very much. You want to sit with your posture in as stable configuration as you can. want to rest your hands palm up in your lap. So what I like to do is as I breathe in, I like to blend, I like to allow diaphragmatic breathing to be the engine that drives tall sitting. And that's a mouthful. Diaphragmatic breathing induced tall sitting. 12 greasy syllables. Not easy. But I've isolated the first syllable and the third from the last syllable into the phrase diatal, which is really easy to pronounce silently and mentally as you breathe in. So I recommend you do that. As you breathe out, I recommend you silently and mentally recite relaxing to help your body to remember that during each out-breath, we are already wired by evolution to physically relax and mentally release. Now, as I mentioned during the class, in the beginning, we're going to notice stuff in addition to our posture. We're going to notice the external and internal, the physical and the mental, the pleasurable and the painful, the interesting and the boring, the glorious and the grotesque. That's fine. Sometimes we'll notice it with crystal clarity, sometimes with vagary, sometimes in the foreground, sometimes in the background. That's fine. To paraphrase Ray Charles, let it do what it do. So if we just this is the great irony. By cooperating with the most ancient facet of our underbrain, we can rapidly become Buddhas. How wild is that? Now, in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll notice this in ridiculously small font. First collection of 16 sets of 16 rounds. What on earth do I mean by that? We can think of a round as simply being one inhalation followed by one exhalation. I found it easy to keep track of rounds on my left hand. During each in-breath, I move the position of my thumb. So during the first in-breath, I count the first, I would count the lower crease on my right little finger. Second in-breath, third in-breath, fourth in-breath, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth in-breath, and so forth and so on until I've counted to 16. I also find it helpful to count sets of 16 rounds. And the sets I count on my right hand. First set, second set. And I count them as I start working on them. Third set, fourth set. 16 sets of 16 rounds is typically between 30 to 45 minutes. Is this important? No. I like it. You might not like it. That's fine. I just don't want to cheat you of any potential tools that you might find beneficial. Okay, it's 31 minutes after the hour. Let's meditate. Oh, I almost forgot. Quick warm-up. Remember, when we're sitting, we don't want to be all crumpled. We want the distance from our left shoulder, the distance between our left shoulder and our left ear, to be pretty much the same distance between our right shoulder and our right ear. So we don't want our head being all leaning to one side, like we're curled up and snuggling. We want our nose to be pretty much in alignment with our navel. So, quick like a bunny, it's sort of like a way of creating some physical momentum. Let's lean to one side and then the other and find our happy medium. Let's take one ridiculously energetic round. And now let's sit. when I first began, a very long time ago, I tried breathing from my dantian. However, I found that contributed to drowsiness, and I was relieved to learn that Suzuki Roshi taught to breathe from the diaphragm. Sometimes you'll have emotions like I love this. Other times you'll have emotions like I hate this. I can't wait until it's over. Our job is not to dialogue with them, to repress them or chase them, but simply to notice them and relax. When our body feels like it's hit a wall, honor that. Don't push yourself. If you do, you'll wind up developing an aversion. Meditation is supposed to be like eating dessert or making love. It's not supposed to be a chore. It's supposed to be a delight. Here's a great irony. If you only feel like practicing for 30 seconds and then you stop after 30 seconds, but you do it at least once every 12 hours, within the week, your body will begin practicing a little bit longer, maybe 45 seconds, maybe 90 seconds, maybe 3 minutes, maybe 5. The body's funny that way. There's wisdom in the body. Don't try to control it. Allow it to flow. A few weeks ago, my back went out. I was in horrific pain. I was on lots of muscle relaxants. That affected the duration of my meditation. Rather than fight it, I can flow with it and find peace in my body's journey of recovery rather than fight my body. I'd rather flow than fight. How about you? Let us train our empathy with chanting. May I, like the Buddha, master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate all others. May I, like the Buddha, master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate all others. May I, like the Buddha, master the Eightfold Path as well as liberate all others. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness flow from centered spontaneity. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness flow from centered spontaneity. May all beings practice of kind communication, conduct, and calmness flow from centered spontaneity. May each being take auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. May each being take auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. May each being take auspicious rebirth, master the Buddha's path, and then help all others do likewise. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy, may no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. May everyone be free from stress, may everyone be happy. May no one be separated from the happiness. May everyone have balance from the tyranny of hating, craving, and clinging freed. If you feel that I have earned it, please type something in the chat window. Give this live stream a thumbs up and share it on social media. In approximately 3 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's mid-morning meditation. And if you are as geeky as me, this is the way.